Hi guys, good morning. I hope everyone is doing great. So I'm about to make a smoothie. If you guys know me, um, typically I put fruits in my smoothie, but only the fruits that I don't like to eat. So here I have one kiwi, one organic kiwi. I don't like to eat the skin, and sometimes I usually get a sour surprise. So I prefer to put it in the smoothie because I know it's just so good for me, and I put it in there with the skin. And I think this is called the golden kiwi. So it's supposed to be a little bit sweeter. And I'm also gonna put a couple of strawberries. I'm gonna tell you what I'm gonna put in there, and then I'm gonna share with you what's been on my mind lately. And so I'm gonna put some flax seeds, some walnut, some pumpkin seeds, some sunflower seeds, some coconut chips, but it's really like what do you call it? Not shredded, but slivered, maybe slivered. This is big. Yeah, slivered coconut. And I'll be putting some almond milk, some spirulina, and some Psyllium husks. But pretty much what's on my mind this morning is 1 Corinthians chapter 15 and verse 19. Actually, it's been on my mind all week because it seems like we're going through a time right now that you have to be intentional about mental health. And you'll hear me talk about mental health on here a whole lot because I see where it's affecting a lot of people in a negative way, where their mental health is being impacted in a negative way, right? And we need to be of a sound mind to really worship God in a way that will be happy, right? And so 1 Corinthians 15 and verse 19 tells us that if it's in this life only, right, that we are dependent upon Jesus, right, in this life only, then we are going to become men's most miserable. That means that even though we're proclaiming to be Christians and we're just praying to God, praying to Jesus to keep us in this life, to provide for us in this life, we're not telling him about our desire to be with him. We're not telling him or asking him to help us to build up treasures in heaven. We're not looking forward to the afterlife, right? We're just depending upon him to take us through here and to provide for us here. We're going to become most miserable. And I think that if a lot of us can judge ourselves and see if we're finding ourselves in that class, then we'll find the reason why we're so unhappy and so miserable. And do you know that miserable and unhappy people wants to make other people miserable and unhappy? In Jamaica, we call it crab in a barrel mentality, right? You're miserable and you're unhappy, so you want other people to be miserable and unhappy. And so sometimes that's simply what the thing is among Christians. You know, Christians are supposed to be the happiest people on the face of the earth. And if we are happy, typically happy people wants to make other people happy, right? And so it is very important because sometimes I cannot understand how some folks are just so unhappy and make an effort to make other people unhappy. When I judge a situation, there's nothing else I can think of but that maybe, you know, we need to encourage each other more to think about heaven, being heaven bound, right? I know that some people think that, oh, there are some that are too extreme, you're heaven bound but no earthly good, right? But look at Enoch. Enoch was completely heaven bound, right? To the point where he knew that they were angelic hosts. I'll put the measurements of everything in the description, guys. There were angelic hosts around him, right? Watching his every move, right? And to the point where God didn't even see the need for him to die, right? He translated him. And if you study the story of Enoch, he lived his life as if, not as if, he lived his life acknowledging the presence of Jesus and angels around him all the time. Right? You can imagine knowing that you're in the company of angels. We would behave different. We would behave different. We would treat each other different. We would have respect for each other. We would esteem each other better than we esteem ourselves, as the Bible instructs us to do. Right? And we would be happier. I'm not saying that we would probably go around, with a grin on our face all the time, but our spirit would be at peace. Cheating with my milk today, guys. And by the way, when I cheat, this is the milk that I use. Right? Yeah, and so it behooves me to encourage someone this morning. Put things into perspective and see if you are hoping, right? Because where your heart is, right? That's how you're going to behave. Depending on the posture of your heart, that's how you're going to behave. And believe it or not, how we behave as the salt of the earth, it affects the persons around us. As Christians, when we go to work, well, we're up to 6 minutes already. When we go to work, our behavior, believe it or not, they're looking on us as an example. Right? Whether they acknowledge it or not. And so as the salt of the earth, we need to show the world that we are happy people. Because, and why we are happy people? Because everybody is searching for happiness. Some are searching for it in a bottle, in a needle, in a pill, whatever. We are happy people because of the hope that lies within us. Because of the plan of salvation. Because we know that one day Jesus is coming back for us. He has gone. He's right now preparing a place for us. Right? That where he is, we will be one day. And we'll spend eternity learning about things we haven't even seen or learned of God Jesus in all his glory. We're going to behold him in all his glory at that time. Can you imagine? When you look at nature, when you look at the heavens, when you look at everything, when you just examine the human body and you think about that as humans, we're just operating in a percentage of the capacity that he made us. Only half of our brain is working, as far as I understand, and I believe it. Right? There are certain things that, abilities that the Lord is going to allow us to do that's just going to wow us. The half has not been seen, guys, of what the Lord has in store for us. What he originally had in store for us, and sin came and stole it. So sometimes my point is, and my message is, and the takeaway should be, prayerfully, that let us sit sometimes and think about what we're going to reap, what belongs to us, right? On the other side of this life. And even if you have to suffer a little bit here on this side, this is not the end. This is pretty much just a workshop. Just a workshop for the next life. I pray that we all will be encouraged and will not just pray and ask God to keep us and provide for us in this life, but to keep our minds stayed on him and what is going to happen after this, because there is a reckoning, right? And a lot of us, Christians and non-Christians, don't think about this, that there's a life after this that we have to give account for, right? There's a life after this. There's timing after this, however you want to put it, where we're going to have to give an account for how we lived this life. And the happiness that we seek, it doesn't lie in a pill. The medications will help us, yes. Right? The encouragement will help us, yes. But in our heart, the posture of our heart has to be striving to be with Jesus one day, where we ultimately belong. That's where we belong. This is not our home. We are just pilgrims passing through. And so let me make my smoothie, because I just worked out. I had a nice workout this morning, and yeah, I need to fuel up a little bit so I can continue with the rest of my day. So I'm going to make my smoothie. I'm plugged in. Forgive me. And if you like your smoothie on the sweeter side, you obviously can put, it's not a very pretty color. As you can see, it's like a mushy gray, right? Almost like charcoal. But you can put dates in it, because you know, it's fruits and stuff. Sometimes, actually, I knew I had forgotten to put something in here, but I'll make a smoothie and put it in there. I had some leafy greens that I wanted to put in there, but it's okay. I'll go ahead and just have my fruits at this time. And I make the children's smoothie. I usually make another smoothie around midday for the children. More of a green smoothie with apples and so on, with fruits. But until the next video, guys, let me taste and see. So it's sweet. So the golden kiwi, they're supposed to be sweeter, and I can taste it in here. Very delicious. And I have fiber, and my Psyllium husk has added extra fiber. You can also put coconut water in there if you want it a little bit sweeter than this, but this is perfect. All right, guys, well, I start the second half of my day, or the second half of my morning. I'm gonna fill up, and I pray that this was encouraging. Think about how it's gonna be, and even though things are not perfect right now, I was saying this to hubby last night. I was saying this to Carl last night, and he was reminding me of a verse that I'm going to study today. I'm telling it to you so you can probably fill it in. You can probably hop on it tonight or this evening, whenever you have your study time, about the fact that the Lord said he came not to make peace, but to cause. You know what? I'm going to come on sometime tonight. What is it? Tuesday? I'll come on sometime tonight and check over that, to bring issues between mother and daughter, children and mother-in-law and daughter-in-law and mother and children and so on. Not to say that he came to make war, but don't be surprised if that's the end result when you stand up for truth. It's pretty much what the word is saying. And I'm leaving you with a little bit of it lingering, so prayerfully you can go and study as well and see what Sister Trish is talking about. But yeah, I'm going to jump on that tonight, and you know what? I am going to do that tonight, and I'm going to come on, because that's a very important topic, because a lot of people are wondering. A lot of people think that as a Christian, you know, everybody's always going to be at peace with you, and, you know, yeah. But no. Sometimes standing up for truth, right, causes war. Until the next video, beloveds, God bless.